Hi, this is John. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm talking to you about when it's appropriate or when is it okay for you to do higher volumes of training in the gym as opposed to what you're currently used to doing. And the simple fact of the matter is that we have to take into account a couple of factors. Number one is, are you training more intensely when you're doing higher volume? And there's a pacing effect. So a pacing effect, what do I mean by that? When you go ahead and you train knowing subconsciously that you have to do, you're currently doing one set, but you have to do 2, 3, 4 more sets. What are you going to do? Are you going to go all out on that first set? You might think that you will, and you are, but the truth of the matter is that it's virtually impossible. You're going to be thinking, I have more work to do. And you may be holding back a little bit, reserving some, keeping a little bit in the tank to get through those extra sets. So that's important to recognize. The other thing is, so therefore, when you're doing that volume, if you're doing several sets of an exercise versus doing a single set, let's say, you're going to pace yourself. Okay, so there's a little bit less intensity involved in that regard. However, the fact is you're going to be doing more work overall. When you do more work overall, you're digging a deeper hole into your reserve energies. And when you do that, it's only a matter of time, weeks, maybe a couple months, however long that might be, before your body says enough. That's enough. And it's no longer going to be recovering properly and overcompensating. In other words, growing from the training that you're doing. So what should you do? And I'll tell you something. I've written a couple of books on some of this subject matter, and I'm going to take a moment to plug them. Number one is the Mr. America Shape Up series. I wrote this book, and I detailed what I did in the course of about 15 months of my own training on myself, and how I adjusted the rest periods and the breaks, the layoffs from training. The more intense it got, the quicker the layoffs had to come in. So there's an answer right there for you. If you're going to do higher volume or a higher volume block of training, just as powerlifters do. Powerlifters prove this all the time, that you can get stronger, and they certainly do get bigger as they train over a length of time, and they use different blocks of training. Heavier cycles versus simply taking a block of more of a power building or a bodybuilding cycle in between, or active rest. So you can adjust the training, but you're going to have to account for that by having layoffs from the training a little bit sooner when the training is more intense or when there's more volume even to it. The other book that I wrote is called Physique 101. And you can find both of these books on my website, MrAmericaHeart.com. I'll flash it across the bottom of the screen, or the top of the screen. So I'm just letting you know you can get a hold of those books, and they detail for you a little bit more about the relationship between your intensity of training and taking layoffs and just taking a step back even from the training. So to get back to the original point, I don't want to get too lost in it here. The more volume you use, even though within a given set, your intensity may not be as high as what you're used to doing when you do 1 or 2 sets of an exercise, the fact is you're going to end up using more energy, have a little bit more wear and tear on your joints, and tear down muscle tissue to a great degree. So it's going to demand that if you do choose to do higher volume blocks of training for 8 weeks or 12 weeks, whatever it is, that you're going to have to, or maybe even 6 or 5 weeks like I would do, then you're going to have to take a little bit sooner of a layoff by accounting for that higher volume of work, just as you would if you were to do a higher intensity block of training, as I described in my Mr. America Shape Up series that I do. When I do a higher intensity block of training, it requires that I account for that by ending it sooner and taking a required break from the training at that time. So that's it for today. From my heart to you, John Hart, I appreciate you. Hey, before you leave, please hit that subscribe button down on the bottom right hand of your screen and give me a thumbs up on the bottom left hand of your screen. It always helps. Thank you very much. Remember to hit the subscribe button below and feel free to comment as well.